All right. So we are almost drawing towards the closure of the event. And the country's E&P sector definitely has a lot of scope, a lot of opportunity. And after all the sessions that we've witnessed in these 2 days, I'm sure we are in a much, much clearer position to put our best foot forward for the next possible steps. This was indeed a great event of the Upstream Ahead Summit under the aegis of DGH and MoPNG. And as we draw towards the closure of the event, I would now request Shri Joydev Lahiri, Convenor Upstream Ahead Summit, to share the summit takeaways and actionable items. Just to give a brief introduction about Shri Joydev Lahiri. He's the Chief General Manager of Oil India Limited with 36 plus years of experience in oil industry, and he has worked in various spheres of Oil India Limited before joining the corporate office, and as engineer in charge constructed oil's first 660-kilometer product pipeline from Numaligarh Refinery in Assam to Rangapani Terminal of NRL at Siliguri. Sir, I leave the stage to you to address everyone.
Very good evening to all of you. I first let me welcome Nath sir, JS Exploration, MoPNG sir, holding you for this late hours. At 7 o'clock, we are late by half an hour. And welcome Dr. Anurag Sharma, Director Onshore ONGC, and the members present from Oil and Gas Association Institution, present CEO, CMD, directors, and other senior officials from national international oil companies, participants from academic institution, state government officials, etc., and totaling to 7,000 plus participants for this first edition of Upstream Ahead Oil and Gas Exploration and Production towards Vision 2050 Summit. We are now at the last session of Summit closer, and from bottom of my heart, I thank each and every one of you for your active participation, which has made the Summit a grand success. On behalf of the Organizing Committee and Steering Committee, I thank MoPNG and DGH for spearheading the Summit for their stewardship and such a phenomenal event. Hosting erudite and intellectual panels of more than 70 speakers and a registration reaching a grand number of 7,000, the Summit indeed has set a benchmark in many aspects. I express my sincere gratitude to DGDGH and JS Exploration MoPNG for giving us support, advice, encouragement to the team, which motivated all of us. The two-day well-delivered summit, well-designed by our event partner, Mr. Social Friendly, has helped us to focus more on the actionable points for periodic monitoring till we go for the second edition of the Upstream Ahead Oil and Gas Exploration and Production towards Vision 2050. 70 number of topics presented by the best speakers from the oil gas industry, financial academic institutions, regulatory authorities, central ministries, service providers like Amazon Service, KPMG India, PwC, institutions like Niti Aayog, World Energy Congress, MNRE, DPIIT, FICCI, etc. has been well accommodated by breaking the summit session into high-intensity discussions with secretaries MoPNG and MoFCC, special interactive sessions on gender diversity and inclusion, and youth session, spotlight, and insight sessions. This is probably the first of its kind biggest summit of oil gas sector, with huge number of technocrats participating from the national, international companies and other stakeholders. It will be injustice on my part if I don't admit that the success of the summit goes to the whole team except me, as I had no scope to contribute to this summit other than the sessions of environment regulation and global. Experts with vast experiences like Malik Saab, Sakhwat Saab, Mohapatra Saab, Patel Saab, Chawla Saab, Nayak Saab, Tikkuji, Sudhir Kumar ji were the main architect for designing this conference program, for which the journey we started way back in September 20, initially with 5 members, taking Social Friendly on board, and gradually got strengthened to 14 members at later stage. On behalf of the Organizing Committee and Steering Committee, I promise before the forum that we are not taking this summit like any other conference. We are committed to generate a conference proceeding note, clearly defining the role of the individual stakeholders so that it can work as a base document for the upstream sector for future reference and monitoring purposes periodically, for which a monitoring group with 8 members already created under chairmanship of DS Project MoPNG with the approval of JS Exploration MoPNG, which will be further revised in consultation with directors DS Project. We also commit that all the PPTs will be uploaded in the summit website as well as DGH website within next 3-4 days, except 1 or 2 cases where the presenters have expressed their reservation in sharing the same. In regard summarizations, over the past 2 days, our minds have been assailed by a torrent of ideas, information, statistics, interpretations, and visions, and it will possibly be a day or two before we can sift through them all, consider our own personal perspective. There is indeed plenty to reflect upon that enhances our individual and collective contributions to meeting these challenges faced by Indian oil and gas sector towards Vision 2050, making the summit truly a great success. Numerous positions and points of views have been outlined, driving solution-based dialogue, covering the whole spectrum of the oil gas exploration production sector, as seen from the perspective of all key stakeholders. I would we will not going to brief those things in detail because we are already late, because we await to listen from Dr. Anurag Sharma and finally by JS. So these documents we will circulate you through the conference note what we generate, and we will share in the website so that we can see it. Going to immense potential and success of this summit, as the convener, it gives me immense pleasure to announce the date for the second edition of Upstream Ahead Oil and Gas Exploration Production toward Vision 2050 Summit, which is proposed on 11th and 12th February 2022. This has been appreciated and encouraged by JS Exploration MoPNG, and we request you to keep your calendar free for the second edition of the summit. I would like to appraise you all that Upstream Ahead is no longer a single event and has transformed into an agenda, a goal. It is a very essential that the dialogue do not die down. To ensure the same, there will be an annual calendar plan. The sole purpose is to keep the vision alive and develop a blueprint that delivers an actionable agenda for the stakeholders to follow through. The annual calendar will map all the necessary activities that are precursor to keep the solution-driven platform alive. Today, from this 2-day virtual event, we will have understood how important and crucial technology is. To leverage the same and keep all stakeholders connected, a mobile application and a dedicated website will be launched. In this age of digitization, we need not to explore all information sharing platform so that the collaborative communications follows. With a vow to take this agenda forward, I bestow the responsibility of the Upstream Ahead Summit managers, social friendly. They have proven their mettle in staging such a magnificent event on a virtual platform, keeping up the spirits to take initiative and ownership of this annual event. I request them to devise a plan to dive Upstream Ahead to new heights and reach the global level it deserves to be. A monitoring committee has already been constituted as referred above to witness the fruits of such collaborative efforts, as well as to track the progress online on the actionable points and key takeaways from the summit proceedings. All the participants shall receive the proceedings report with actionable points for their perusal on the road to our Vision 2050. See you next year, everyone. Hopefully offline. Have a good session after this. And now I hand over the session to the organizer, which is social friendly. You can invite as per the program.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you so much. And now may I request Shri Anurag Sharma, Director Onshore ONGC, for the closing remarks. And I would like to introduce a little bit about Shri Anurag Sharma. Mr. Anurag Sharma has taken over the charge of ONGC, Director Onshore, on 1st June 2000. Mr. Sharma's essence signifies his passion, commitment, and hard work. He has a career spanning over 36 years of outstanding contribution in the company in various positions, including those of asset manager of Cauvery Asset. During his tenure, the asset made significant improvements, which resulted in highest ever oil production in the last 2 decades. May I please request you, sir, to share the closing remarks for everyone?
Chandrima, I think Mr. Sharma is facing some technical challenge. So,
I suppose so.
yeah, can
Yeah, shall we move on to
we'll
the
get, yeah, I
valedictory?
think we can get.
All right. Okay. So while we wait for Mr. Anurag Sharma to join in, may I request Shri Amarnath, Joint Secretary MoPNG, for the valedictory address. Mr. Amarnath, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, is the government nominee director, and he joined the board on 28th June 2016. Mr. Amarnath, an IS officer, 1994 Agmat Cadre, is a Bachelor of Science Mechanical Engineering from National Institute of Technology, Kurukshetra, Kurukshetra University, and MA International Development Policy from Duke University, USA. Shri Amarnath was Secretary to the Department of Health, Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi prior to the present assignment. Sir, may I request you to address everyone with the valedictory address?
Thank you very much. Good evening to all of you who are participating in this online event. And it's indeed a heartening moment for me that E&P industry has come together and generated so much interest and discussions that it is giving us food for thought on a lot of issues. I will have just one or two suggestions for this. That the number of people you have brought together is phenomenal. In fact, I can see that almost all people who are associated with the Indian E&P industry, they were connected with the event. The number of sessions you had organized, they were indeed high quality sessions and spread out sessions. I don't think there is any issue or any session topic which has been missed out. So I must compliment all the organizers, participants for generating this kind of interest. And I take this as a starting point, as a foundation stone for something bigger to emerge. I expect this is only a sapling which you have planted, and the tree has to grow. And I am 100% sure that this tree will grow and spread its shade and fruits to the Indian E&P industry and the country as a whole. The involvement of the people is the biggest thing which basically makes any event successful. And from that point of view, I will rate this event as a 100% successful event. And let me admit to all of you that this is a world-class event. There is no doubt about that. I couldn't find anything which I can say that this is a weakness and need to be improved. No, this is a world-class event, and it has the potential to grow as an international event in the coming years. So congratulations to all of you who conceptualized and thought about this and finally successfully conducted this event. But I will have one or two suggestions to make, that treat this event as a beginning. These kind of events regularly happen, but at the end, we just forget the event and move on. What was done last year, probably we don't pay attention to that. So let this event be a different kind of event. It should be a starting point. Whatever was discussed today, the people who have spent their time, they have contributed. let all these things be documented and find out actionable out of that. And for that, I will suggest that you constitute a monitoring committee, which Mr. Lahiri also mentioned that they have also already conceptualized it. My suggestion will be make this monitoring committee a slightly larger committee. And if I suggest make this, if it's a Vision 2050, make a monitoring committee involving 50 people, 50. Divide those people into different segments, like you had sessions. So let some team be responsible for identifying what was the actionable in those sessions and how to take forward. If some expert has said something, it is our responsibility to take that suggestion forward, make it actionable. And if some issue is there, we must contact that expert again, that you said so and so thing, how do we move ahead? So maybe you can again take the guidance of those experts who gave the suggestions. So my first suggestion will be that have a monitoring committee consisting of 50 people, 50. And associated with that, because this is more of a event which has a vision, long-term vision. And as some of the speakers said, that it has to be a transformational event. But thinking of business as usual will have to be abandoned, and some new ideas, transformational ideas have to come. And the people who have long-term stake should be part of the, not only of the event, but should be part of the monitoring committee. So my second suggestion will be that 50% of the monitoring committee should be people who are in younger age group, who have next 20 to 30 years service left. So have people who are, say, less than 30 years of age. So half of the people of the monitoring committee should be younger people less than 30 years age. And let me add the third idea into this. There was a session on women empowerment and gender and diversity. In coming years, they must play more active role. So in monitoring committee, you add more women. There should be 50% women who are part of the monitoring committee. That will really transform the event in coming years. And if you have to make one measurement, you can see how many women participants were there in the whole event. There were less. So oil and gas industry, energy industry must encourage more women to be part of the events, and they must be made part of the progress of the oil and gas and energy sector. So these are my concluding thoughts, and let me once again compliment and congratulate all of you, and my best wishes for the whole year and the preparations for the next year, as you already decided the date. That will give a basically momentum to all of you, and it will be a great event, and let's hope it will contribute in growth of energy sector in India, and more particularly E&P sector in the country. Thank you very much for inviting me and being part of this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspiring words. I'm pretty sure we all are very, very inspired after all of your beautiful, beautiful words. So thank you so much. And I would really like to apologize for the confusion earlier. I'm really sorry about that, but thank you so much for inspiring us so much. So now I would like to call upon Shri Anurag Sharma, Director Onshore ONGC, to share the closing remarks for the session.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Good evening, everyone. And I must apologize to the chairman. It is not proper to speak once the chairman has spoken. And I also want to apologize because I am filling in on behalf of our chairman who is unable to join because of a sudden engagement. So thanks again. It's my privilege to be giving closing remarks at the conclusion of this two-day summit. Let me start by thanking Secretary Petroleum, sir, as he has been the driving force not only behind this event but the entire oil and gas industry, which sees a refreshing change agent in him. A few days back, during the deliberations on E&P Action Plan 2025, he has prioritized three areas of actions from all sedimentary basins. Second, having enough number of competent professional companies in the E&P sector. And third, creating an atmosphere and ecosystem of rules, regulations, and policies to enable faster clearances from both central and state governments. So these areas were very important for success of E&P Action Plan 2025, as well as Upstream E&P Vision 2050. I'm sure that we as stakeholders will strive hard in this direction. Mr. Lahiri at the beginning has already submitted a list of takeaways, and JSE also identified certain action points at the conclusion of this summit. So I also have a few points which I would like to be brief. To start with, because of the pandemic, we are all aware, and the world order has changed post this pandemic. And we are hopeful that our story is poised to be a compelling one in the next 2 to 3 decades. While we are heading to become the third largest economy by 2030, our energy consumption is also likely to surpass that of the EU. So therefore, it is obvious that a huge amount of energy in every form will be required to fulfill the aspirations of our growing economy. The growing consumption and demand of petrochemicals will continue to require a huge amount of oil and gas. BP in its outlook has projected about 30% share of oil and gas and primary energy basket of the country in 2040. So even though the long-term oil demand growth may taper, the future is quite promising for gas, with a target of 15% by 2030 from the current level of 6.3%. So we can rest assured that oil and gas has continued to be relevant for the country for several decades to come. Now, considering the high import, about 85% in oil and about 50% in gas, and its cost, the challenge is to meet the demand from our own resources as much as possible. And this is the crux of this event and this exercise. E&P Action Plan 2025 dwelt on this issue with a short-term target, while the challenge for our Upstream Vision 2050 seeks engagement at even much larger scale. So historically, our sedimentary basins haven't been able to excite the global energy community. Nevertheless, we have collectively done a good job in past and brought up exciting discoveries and collaboration opportunities. We need to improve further by exploring the unexplored basins and improving the recovery factors of the producing reservoirs. This will require increased investment and healthy cash flows from the existing business. As the NOC, ONGC understands the urgent imperative of higher domestic supplies, we have stepped up our efforts. Recently, as you are all aware, ONGC put the 8th producing basin on the country's hydrocarbon map with commencement of oil production from Bengal Basin. Accelerated efforts are also underway for early monetization of the Indian and Kutch basins. We are confident that our basins hold a lot of promise, a lot of untapped potential. The recent resource re-estimation is a firm indicator of that. 42 billion tons of oil equivalent prognosticated resource base, an upgrade of almost 50% from the last such exercise. So from the 2-day-long deliberation of experts at the end of this summit, it is gathered that our exploration portfolio needs to be a suitable mix of mature and frontier plays across different basins, with a major component hinging on the yet-to-find resources. So therefore, all our efforts need to be concentrated towards extensive exploration of category 2 and 3 basins, as well as the undiscovered potential. The government's focus on simplification of procedures and facilitating faster discovery is evident from the measures rolled out in recent years. Award of exploration acreages through OLP, doing away with revenue share commitment in category 2 and 3 basins, production enhancement contracts in nomination fields. These are some of the forward-looking measures that will spur new investment and encourage induction of cutting-edge technology to enhance the recovery of hydrocarbons. And if we add to it the mission Atmanirbhar Bharat, it will essentially spur the growth and make India self-reliant. It also creates a pathway for the domestic E&P sector so that the goals of increased indigenous oil and gas production to reach at least 50% self-sufficiency is realized. The focus on gas, as we are all aware, is pronounced, and it is rightly so. The development of a gas-based economy is high on the charter of priorities, supported by expansion of our pipeline network, as well as launch of online delivery-based gas exchange. The decision to allow marketing pricing freedom for new gas projects and the trading hub shall spur the long-term growth of the fuel and remunerative prices for the operators. So this is where the issue of resource availability takes a backseat to the more pragmatic concern of how do we go about it? How do we extract oil and gas, at what cost, and with what technology? And if I may quote, IEA Executive Director Faith Birol has said, all roads to successful global clean energy transitions go via India. So by 2050, while pursuing net zero, India is expected to have more renewable capacity than US. And with all the measures adopted and being adopted in India, we will also be a significant player in oil and gas by 2050. So I would like to close by complimenting the organizers under the guidance of JSE and DGDGH for successful organization of this summit. Our compliments to all the participants who participated and enriched this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing such valuable insights.
Chandrima, 1 minute, I would like to announce one. Sir,
Yes.
This is to sir, appraise JS sir. I just I got a phone call from Honorable Minister's office. I think he also got that this workshop has been organized nicely, and I am advised to send the all PowerPoints. He wants to see in the weekend. So I am going to send. That is to inform only. You can continue now, Chandrima.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Joydev, sir. Thank you so much for those beautiful insights, those valuable insights. And you summed up the entire discussion in a very, very precise and apt manner. So thank you so much. Now I would like to call upon Mr. K.K. Nayak for the vote of thanks. Mr. Kitish Kumar Nayak has more than 32 years experience in senior positions in oil and gas industry. He started his career in Oil India Limited, then Saudi Aramco, and other drilling companies in India and abroad. While he was serving in PDO, Shell Oman, from 2004 to 2009, he got awarded from then Prime Minister of India in Oman for its outstanding contribution in increasing oil production in North Oman in November 2008. May I please request you to take upon the stage for the vote of thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Chandrima. So now it is already late. I will not take much time to raise my vote of thanks. So we are extremely thankful to Secretary Tarun Kapoorji of MoPNG, to sparing the time and guiding us, leading us for this conclave and fixing this date amidst the parliament is going on. We are also thankful to DGDGH Shri SL Dasji and Additional Secretary MOEF Shri Ravi Agarwal ji and other officials of MOEF. Also, we are thankful to Joint Secretary Amar Nath Sahab, who has been part of our organizing team, and the other officials of MoPNG, Niti Aayog, and MNRE. I am also thankful to CMD directors of ONGC Limited, also the CMD and directors of Oil India Limited. Also thankful to CEO and directors of private E&P operators. We are extremely thankful to the various state government officials who are E&P operations are going on, and they joined some of the sessions on behalf of their state government. I am also thankful to esteemed session chairs, speakers of various sessions, and KPMG team who are our knowledge partner for this event. So, I'm most thankful to this audience of this virtual summit. And it is very difficult to but most of the people who are on the majority of the sessions, in spite of sessions become so late. Yesterday we continued up to 7:45 p.m. But still the audience was so patient to hear us. Then I am thankful to the entire team of event partners, Social Friendly and Chandrima, who have worked day and night since last 20 to 25 days to make this virtual event unique and well crafted. Last but not least, I'll give special thanks to the steering committee members, our organizing committee members led by Mr. Lahiri, and who spent their most valuable time to make this event unique and very, very successful, as certified by our JS Exploration recently. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you all for joining, and we'll see you in the next year as decided by the year, if all of you permit, 11th and 12th of February 2022. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for summing up the event beautifully. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for your valuable time. And thank you for being a part of this event. Well, we will start the cultural event at 8 p.m. So I would request all of you to please come back at 8 p.m. and let's wind up the session on a nice musical note.